to distinguish between employees and independent contractors, and statutory and exempt employment. The seminar will be held from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Kern County Career Service Center, located at 1600 East Bell Terrace, Room 2. To register, visit edd.ca.gov or call 866-873-6086. The Chamber will explore what businesses need to know about California's new mandatory paid sick leave law that takes effect on July 1st at its next Labor and Employment Law Update Forum on Thursday, April the 9th. And joining us now is Jerry Pearson with the law offices of Young Wooldridge, and he's going to discuss what businesses need to know to comply with this new law. So thanks for being here, Jerry. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Nathan. Always good to be here.
So, can you tell us what the Mandatory Paid Sick Leave Act is and how it works?
Well, that's a long answer, but there's a form coming up on that.
Without giving too much away,
okay.
give us just a rundown.
The thumbnail sketch is in September of last year, Governor Brown signed into law this new paid sick leave law, and we're getting a lot of questions on that. That's the one bill that all the employers want to know about, right? So, long and short of it is, if you're an employer in California, there's a new paid sick leave bill that's going to apply to you, okay? And briefly what it means is you have to provide paid sick leave to your employees if you're an employer in California. And with rare exception, it's going to apply to you. And at the forum, we'll go over things such as how long an employee has to work for you before they're entitled to paid sick leave. It does apply to employees in California, whether they're temporary employees or regular employees or part-time employees or full-time employees or exempt employees or non-exempt employees, and all the long laundry list of things. It's effective. Part of it was effective as of January 1 in terms of notice requirements, but as of July 1, it goes into effect in terms of the employees being allowed to accrue that and use that. So it's in effect coming up quickly.
So I understand, and you mentioned part of it coming into effect the first of the year. They were required to post notices and start accruing leave. Is that correct? In some cases?
That's partially correct. Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're getting a lot of questions about. So, and a lot of this law, along with a lot of new bills that the legislature puts into place, they don't answer all the questions for you. So a lot of these things are still to be determined. And the Department of Labor just put out a frequently asked questions list, which is one of the things we'll go over at the forum next week. But yes, the posting requirements went into place January 1, posting and notices. And accruing is one method that an employer can go about for providing the sick leave. You can also do a flat rate to give your employees the sick leave, which is another thing we'll go over. But the accrual, there's a split in opinion about whether the employees had to accrue that January 1 or whether that goes into effect July 1.
So it's one of those things that everybody across the state is kind of working through it as they go, trying to determine what the new law means.
And one of the things we hope that the Labor Commissioner will answer for us shortly.
Oh, okay. So obviously important for the employers to be aware of this sick leave law. I'm assuming that they're developing penalties as well. Do we know what those are going to look like if you're not in compliance?
There are civil penalties if you're not in compliance, and there are other penalties if an employer doesn't provide the sick leave. So that's one of the things we also will cover next week.
Okay. So who would you recommend takes the time and comes out to learn about this forum?
If you're a business owner who handles your policies and HR decisions, if you're an HR person who handles those policy and decisions in terms of policies and providing leaves, anybody who makes those decisions at a business I think is important to attend.
Okay, because they're going to have to go back and communicate those laws to their employers or to their employees if they haven't already done so. Correct?
That's right.
Okay. Any other upcoming changes in the world of labor law that employers need to be aware of in addition to this?
Yeah, this was certainly the big one, but there are other ones that I think are also important that came into effect for 2015. AB 1825, which is the big sexual harassment training statute. One change in that was your sexual harassment training now has to include what's known as abusive conduct. Okay, so make sure that If you're an employer who provides that training in-house, or if you have a contractor that comes in and provides that training for you and for your supervisors, to make sure that that training as of January 1 also includes a section that talks about abusive conduct or bullying.
Okay.
Also, FEHA, the Fair Employment and Housing Act in California, now also provides protection for interns and volunteers, the same that it does for employees. So if you have an intern or volunteer program at your facility, make sure that you know that those persons are also protected from discrimination and harassment under the state laws in California. There's also protection now for employees who have driver's license in California as an illegal alien. So make sure that if you have notice of employees in your facility who have a driver's license and they're illegal aliens, you have to protect that information. You can't take any action against them because of that. There's also a new law in California that says you cannot ask for an employee to show you a driver's license in California unless that is specifically part of their job duties.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I've had clients who weren't aware of that, and they want an employee to show that as part of I-9 information or for identification purposes. And I say, well, you better make sure that's required as part of the job.
So unless you would say in a job description or an announcement, things like that, valid California driver's license and whatnot required, unless you say that, you can't ask.
That's right. So you might need to go back and review your job descriptions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Jerry, thank you very much for coming in. We're looking forward to the forum on April the 9th. And once again, that next Labor and Employment Law Update Forum is a week from Thursday, April the 9th, the Chamber office, located right here downtown at 1725 I Street. Check-in and networking begins at 7:30 a.m., and the program will last from 8 to 10. Cost is free for Chamber members and $40 for non-members, and breakfast will be served. To register, give the Chamber a call, 661-327-4421, or register online at www.bakersfieldchamber.org. And that's it for Strictly Business this week. I'd like to thank my guests, Nick Ortiz, the new president and CEO of the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce, Karen Garner of the San Joaquin Community Hospital's Grossman Burn Center, Lori Malkin of JJ's Legacy, Robin Paggi of WorkLogic HR, and Jerry Pearson with the law offices of Young Wooldridge. We also want to thank Young Wooldridge and San Joaquin Community Hospital for their continued sponsorship of Strictly Business. We greatly appreciate it. And for Melissa Rossiter and everyone else at the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce, I'm Nathan Ollie. Have yourself a great week, and we'll see you next Monday at 10 a.m. for more Strictly Business.